Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome back to another impactful and amazing episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we try to live our best life through the lens of holistic health. And yeah, as y'all can see, I don't know, if you're watching this on YouTube and, True Health Forever YouTube, like and subscribe. We are in San Diego, California. The view behind us is amazing and beautiful. Can't wait for the sunset. If you're just listening on Spotify, hopefully you can hear the happiness and the tranquility in our voices. But my name is Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And as usual, I have the beautiful, the intelligent, the creative, the curl-rific, the melanated queen herself. What's up? Introduce yourself, please.
What's up, party people?
Even in San Diego, huh? All right.
Especially in San Diego. My name is Sinclair, a.k.a. Theeehealthnerd. And honestly, we're just sitting here almost too blessed.
Yeah, that part.
Borderline. You ever ask yourself, like, wow, am I too blessed?
Clink it. So
sip our rosé sangria.
Yeah. So if you're watching again, you can see the happiness and the cupfuls that we have in rosé sangria. Just got back from doing some wine tasting. So the theme of this episode is going to be on vacation. We'll get right into it. So, and this came up kind of naturally, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, where it was just a string of jokes of things that happen while you're on vacation. We had just gotten back from barbecuing some carne asada. He was grilling out there, little sizzle, do a little something.
Grill master was throwing it down.
Yeah, but it was fire.
It was
I'm trying to do my thing. As y'all know, when we're on vacation, when we travel, we do eat meat. So in case some of y'all are like, but we've been listening to podcasts and y'all say you're pescatarian, y'all say you're trying to limit meat. Very true. But on vacation,
it is the way
we chow down.
Yes, it is the system we've created to moderate how often we eat meat. Yes. We allow ourselves on holidays and when we travel to eat meat. And that way we know we're not eating it on a daily basis.
Right. But so we were coming back from grilling the meat, and there was 7, they weren't cops because it was security of the resort that we were staying in. They were all surrounding this one building. And I started off saying how you mess around and get arrested on vacation? How you go off somewhere to relax and you end up in jail? How does that work? And then, it just kept on spiraling. So then we were we need to do a whole podcast about just on vacation.
The other one, you can't forget the raccoon. The other one was the raccoon.
Oh, my goodness.
So we were grilling, and then all of a sudden,
own business.
I have a fear of a lot of animals, but especially raccoons. They don't sit right with me. We had an experience in the Moreno Valley.
Oh goodness, yeah, we did.
it was at night. We were walking around a lake and we literally saw probably 8 raccoons, but it was dark, so all we saw were their little demon eyes coming towards us. It was terrifying. So anyways, ever since then I don't really mess with raccoons. So I turned around and we see a raccoon, and I was like, babe, come on. And I just start walking away, low-key running. And then he comes and he was like, oh, it's following us. So I go a little bit faster. And then it keeps following us. We were just and then we kept walking. We went another way. We went around the building. And then we saw.
Mind you, no, we drove.
Oh, that's what it was.
So we got in the car. We drove to where we thought our building, we were trying to get into our building, but we couldn't park because there was nothing but security and cop cars there. So we were how you mess around and can't find parking on vacation? How is that possible? What? So then we drive and we park down the hill around the corner from where our resort is. And then we get out the car, we start walking, and we see this other woman with her child.
In a
stroller. And she's walking, and we see her do a sharp U-turn.
Right.
Sharp U-turn. She's whoop. nope, turns around. And she's like, don't go that way, there's a raccoon. We're like, it's the same raccoon.
Right. We were like, it followed us all the way down here. We go, how are you going to mess around and get attacked and followed by a raccoon
on vacation? How does that work? Long story short, you see that we're dorks and we enjoy comedy. So that's how that happened. So then we were like, we might as well just do a whole podcast episode about things that happened to us on vacation, our different experiences. We definitely love traveling, and we think that traveling is key to living a healthy lifestyle and to living your best life. So hopefully these stories don't deter you from wanting to travel.
Because we still do it. You see us still here.
Big fact. We didn't go home.
Right.
No, we're good. So we're just going to go through a few things that we experienced on vacation. Let us know what stories you have. Again, you can follow us on Instagram, Truhealth, the number 4ever. You can also see us on YouTube, Truhealth 4ever. And just let us know what experiences or stories happened to you on vacation.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. Hopefully more good. But if the bad stories or lessons usually are embedded in those. So, Queen, how are we starting this off? What category are we going with first?
Let's start with, actually traveling to our destination.
Okay.
I feel like that is, to me, the most stressful part. Because you come up with your whole plan. I'm the planner when it comes to traveling and our vacations.
That she is.
So I'm very particular about making sure that the plan goes according to plan. But with travel, that's the one thing that you can't control. Like, you're completely at bay of the airport or wherever, So it gives me anxiety to travel. He knows that. So we've had some very good experiences traveling. We had some very not so good experiences actually getting to our destination, mostly flights. Mm-hmm. So we want to go through some of those. So you want to start off with good or bad?
Let's start bad with each category. That way we can end good and positive with each category.
Okay.
And with the bad, because I don't like to just be negative. Let's try to give folks something that we learned in that instance, so maybe next time we're gonna do something different, that way that bad doesn't happen again, if possible. I know for some of these it might not be possible, but if possible, let's also try to flip that bad into a lesson. Okay, so bad, hit us with it, Queen.
We both know it was to get to Thailand, which ironically is
the
best trip that we both agreed is our best trip. But yes, getting there was an absolute nightmare. We were traveling for a full 24 hours, and that was not the plan.
At all.
So we were supposed to take a flight to Shanghai, and then from Shanghai to Phuket, which is the island where we were staying. We ended up going from LAX to Shanghai. We got to Shanghai. We were standing in line to go to the next part of the airport. You get off your flight, you got to go through, whatever check station to get to the next flight, right? So we're standing in line, and we've got the boarding pass, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, hey, babe, is there another form of military time? He was like, what? And I was like, is there another, I know military time, but is there another form of time that people use around the world? And he was like, no, I'm pretty sure military time is, universal. I was like, this shows that we just missed our flight. I'm like, this shows that our flight left an hour ago. But we just landed and our flight was on time. So I'm like, there just must be a mistake. I'm slightly freaking out at this point, but I'm like, there must be a mistake. So then we get to the line, and the guy looks, we give our board pass, and he looks and he's like, oh, and walks away with it. And I'm like, snap. Can we cuss on this?
If you feel so emotionally inclined to cuss, you go ahead and do your things.
I'll try not to, but I'm just like, gosh dang it, we messed up somehow. I'm just like, how did this happen? It was one of those where you book the full flight. It's not like I booked the flight separately, to go to Shanghai and then to Phuket. I just booked the flight to Phuket, and it had normally. Right.
So to make the logistics a little bit more clear, because I think you might have lost folks in the whole military time, other sense of time. So you know how you have layovers, right? So you have your flight from LAX to Thailand, and in between there's layovers. So it's natural for you to stop somewhere and then have to get on to another plane.
Right.
Perfectly normal. So we were doing that, thinking nothing of it. Okay, we're going to get on this flight. We're going to get on the next flight at 4 o'clock. Cool. But it was 6 o'clock when we landed, and the flight that we were supposed to connect to was 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So And we didn't do anything wrong per se. So when we landed, we were like thinking we're gonna get right on the next plane. So that's why she was like, is there another form of military time? Because we had just landed, but the time that was on the ticket was like 2 hours prior to when we landed. So there was no hope at a connecting flight. And then when we talked to the folks, no disrespect to the people in Shanghai, y'all are lovely, amazing people, but there was definitely a language barrier there.
Oh my goodness.
100%. And my Cantonese, my Mandarin is not tip-top shape. It's not even any type of shape.
It's no shape.
I know how to say hi. That's about it. So it was that was a little bit of a barrier struggle, being able to communicate with the ticket folks and let them know, like, hey, this is the plane that we're supposed to be on. How can we get there? Yeah. How can we get to Phuket?
And I feel like we ended up waiting for almost like 3 hours. Yeah. So once we realized we had to step aside, we couldn't even keep going through the airport or whatever to the next terminal. We had to wait for them to figure out our next flight, but we were waiting for a good 3 hours. So just imagine you are halfway to your journey. You are in some place where you have no hotel reservations. You don't know the language. You don't have your luggage. Actually, we did have our luggage.
We had all of our luggage?
Because that was at Thailand. I feel like we didn't check in anything.
Yeah. Whose idea was that?
Yes, that was brilliant, actually. Yes, because I remember being so thankful. Like, good thing we didn't check our luggage in. So we only had carry-ons, thank God. But yeah, it was just like, we don't know how we're getting to the next destination. We weren't traveling by ourselves. We had Ryan.
Ryan wasn't with us.
Not with us, but he was also going to Thailand. Yeah. So yeah, it was just very stressful. So we finally got our new boarding passes, but then we had to go to make another stop. So now we had to go from Shanghai to Singapore. Blessing in disguise. We'll get to that in a second. Shanghai to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Phuket. So it extended the whole traveling situation by like probably 12 hours. So it was supposed to be like a 16-hour flight. Ended up, like I said, we were traveling for a full 24 hours, if not more, just to get to the destination of just traveling. So that was just exhausting. But the Singapore airport.
Yeah, Singapore airport is fire.
It's amazing.
It's very clean.
Super clean.
A lot of really good food.
It was quiet. They had a carpet, so it was like super quiet. You didn't hear all the footsteps and the suitcases being dragged along the floor. They had nap rooms. They had prayer rooms. Yeah, they had good food. It was a really nice airport. So that's why I said it was a blessing in disguise, because I don't know when we would have ever made it to the Singapore airport, but we got to try some delicious food, and it ended up working out. We got there. We didn't miss anything really. I think we just got there a little bit later in the day than we wanted to, but I was worried that we were going to miss a full day of vacation, and that's like worst nightmare to me. Is we only have 7 days, and something misses up to where like you're taking off a day or two of your vacation, because it's like we're not able to extend it on the other way, so you're just money wasted essentially. So I was very worried.
And the lesson that I would stress is, if you're traveling, and especially if you have connecting flights and you can manage, try to take only carry-ons.
Yes.
Because if we were in that situation and our luggage had been somewhere else, like, she was already stressed. Like, I already saw her face. She was already like, oh my gosh, Devon. So if we had lost our luggage, oh goodness, I can only imagine.
Like, we probably would not have got that back. But in time that we needed it, if we got it back at all. Right.
So I would say, if you're traveling and you know there's going to be multiple stops, please, at least this is the lesson that I learned, just bring all carry-ons, whether it's a luggage in a backpack or another creative combination, but try to minimize your losses as much as possible. That would be the lesson.
And it is possible. So we packed for 7 days in just the small carry-on luggage. So we use things like the vacuum sealed bags. You don't actually need a vacuum. You can sit on them. But that's a good way to compact things so that you can fit more stuff. Just fun travel tip there.
Yep. And then I would say, ironically, the best travel experience might have been the return trip of that exact same trip.
Yeah.
Because so we returned back and we flew, I believe, China Eastern on the way back from
China
Thailand.
Eastern was on the way there. I don't know. It might have been on the way back too, but I know.
Or was it Japan Airlines?
I think it might have been Japan.
Okay, so it might have been Japan Airlines. But listen, they gave you like 3-course meals on the flight.
Yeah.
That flight was a layover in London, or was it direct?
I don't remember.
Not remembering. But long story short, on that flight, we had 3 meals, all you can drink wine, all you can eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and the movies were actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The movies were good movies. And I remember being fairly comfortable, and we weren't traveling first class, some days.
Not yet. We're not
yet. We ain't big and popping, we small popping. But I remember being relatively comfortable. I was sitting next to this lovely individual here, drooling on my shoulder. But yeah, I would say that was probably the best travel experience on a plane for me.
Yeah. I think that's probably accurate.
So international flights, usually, at least the few that we've been on, all you can drink wine, so don't be shy. Ask for your wine. All you can eat dessert. Don't be shy. Ask for your desserts. I know, like the first few that I've been on, I was like shy. I'm like, I'll just
I
get
don't know if I
one.
can get more.
Yeah, but she was like, can I get another wine? I was like, oh yeah, can I get another wine too? Oh yes, of course. So, cheers.
Although I did read somewhere that because of COVID-19, they're not doing alcohol on flights anymore. I don't know if that's true for international flights, but I think domestically at least. So I don't know how much those restrictions are going to change. I think just because it encourages you to have your mask off, and they want to keep people with their masks on for as much as the time. But something to keep in mind.
Mask off. Mask off. Hey, mask off. Mask off. Get it.